From the dark secrets behind the Elder Scrolls to the claimed most violent game ever created, which possibly inspired a real-life murder, all and more will be covered in Season 3's first and my biggest video yet. Now the only question is, are you ready? Buckle in, dear Homo sapien, because this just got real. Don't forget to subscribe and laser that bell thing. While we're setting up our deep diving gear, preparing for the iceberg, let's start the expedition. Perfect Dark is a 2000 game developed by Rare, set in an alternate 2023. You know what? Happy New Year, by the way. Where above the earth is a war between two alien races, the Mayans and the Skidar. I believe that's how you pronounce them. And on Earth there is a rivalry between two powerful companies, the Carrington Institute and the Datadyne, in exchange for creating a super powerful AI with the ability to access an ancient alien spaceship at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. The Skidar have supplied Datadyne with enough alien technology to easily become the biggest company and corporation in the world. You play as Giana Dark, an agent of the Carrington Institute. The training and experience Giana has undergone has earned her the codename Perfect Dark. The story in the game is wild and very interesting, and it doesn't end there. Rare was brave enough to cast their lots and try multiplayer, as there are several multiplayer options, like a co-op mode and a deathmatch mode where you're fighting against AI-controlled robots. While the story and setting are very different, I know I'm not the only one who got Tomb Raider vibes in a way. You play as a female protagonist, fighting against impossible odds, Now, its controversy comes from the fact that this game was released on Nintendo in the year 2000, a time when the most popular games on Nintendo systems were games like the Super Mario Bros., Donkey Kong, Metroid, Zelda, and a whole bunch of Pokemon games. Am I the only one noticing a pattern? That's a lot of kid games. Perfect Dark was a, no pun intended, little darker than Nintendo was used to, with a mature rating by ESRB. Now that doesn't mean it wasn't a good game. For example, GameSpot claimed that as a console FPS, the game was, quote, unparalleled. Metacritic gave it a 97 out of 100. That's some high praise there. Perfect Dark was also loved for, at the time, superior graphics, AI, and multiplayer options. All around, Perfect Dark was a pretty stinking good game. Just not on the right system, I guess. I mean, just during the year 1999 alone, Nintendo got happy little games like Donkey Kong, Super Smash Bros., stinking Mario Party, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, and Pokemon Yellow, all games that are generally rated and made for kids. And then you had like the Perfect Dark with a mature rating not long after, so yeah, you can see where the problem was. Nintendo just had a reputation of family-friendly games at the time. The Great Giana Sisters was another Nintendo game that had some controversy, but this one is actually pretty funny. The Great Giana, I'm pretty sure it's Giana, not Giana. Sisters was a 1987 game developed by Time Warp Productions and published by Rainbow Arts. Now, despite what you're watching right now, this is not Mario, and that's exactly why it had some controversy. In the game, Giana had a terrible dream where she travels through 33 different stages, fighting monsters and collecting gems, all the while to find her sister Maria. And at the very end, if you successfully complete the last level, you'll be woken up by Maria and saved from the nightmare. Not a bad game, other than the fact that it's a straight Mario ripoff. Now, the reception of the game was interesting. Across Europe, the game got great reviews. They even got like up to 96 out of 100. The heck. But when it comes to the US, it was said to be fun, but not live up to the standards set by the Mario Bros. Fun fact, it was actually intended to be called The Great Giana Sisters, Giana with 2 N's. But when the cover art was created, there was a typo and we ended up with only 1 N. I mean, it's literally got 2 N's in the intro to the game. In the game. Oh my goodness. Now, though it might seem as if this silly little ripoff story ends here, we'd be wrong. Giana Sisters' Twisted Dreams of the 2010 Kickstarter funded game developed and published by Black Forest Games. And this time around, Giana had an upgrade. Definitely more of its own feel and style. Now, is this a bleeding edge game concept? Obviously no, but I'm happy to see that they turned something around and, put some more heart into it, Alright, now kiss happy endings and good times goodbye. A game that I've actually talked about on this channel, Whiplash. Series, Gex, and for all you crazies out there, Mad Dash Racing and Whiplash. Bangers. Whiplash is a 2003 platform game by Crystal Dynamics. The game has you playing as Spanx, and attractive, long-tailed weasel who's found himself literally chained to a rabbit named Redmond. Though there isn't exactly a clear main character, you'll be playing as Spanx for the majority of the game, with Redmond used as a weapon because the product testing has made him completely indestructible. I'll explain in a second. You can use him as a weapon to take out guards while escaping, or jam him into machinery. He's literally abused the entire game. You can also free other animals throughout the warehouse and get rewards for it, and there you have the controversy. Okay, so the plot of Whiplash is Spanx and Redmond must work together to try and escape the warehouse where they've been kept for product testing by the corporation Genron, run by the animal-hating CEO Franklin D. Mann. Of course, the controversy and complaints surround the animal cruelty aspects of Whiplash, as Redmond is just abused the entire game long. Whiplash is also a game that, to me, isn't helped by the older graphics and funky style. It's like, ew, you know what I mean, Burn? The reception of Whiplash wasn't great. Definitely not Crystal Dynamics' best game, with an average rating of 6 or so out of 10. And it wasn't just the players that got weirded out or concerned by the animal abuse. This seemingly simple game was able to get the attention of the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or the RSPCA for short. So yikes. So, some games just go through controversy for bigger reasons and might even get the attention of royal societies, while others are just plain obvious, like Titan Studios. Get ready. Fat Princess. This, of course, had some problems with the peeps. Fat Princess is an action real-time strategy 2009 game released in the US, Aussieland, Europe, and Japan. But in Japan, it's known as Pokari Princess, or Pokari Princess. You're welcome. Then, in 2010, they released a PlayStation version titled Fat Princess Fistful of Cake. So, Fat Princess is a multiplayer game up to 32 stinking players at a time, where the objective is to bring the princess back to your team's base. Sounds simple enough. You can also feed the princess cake, and of course, she'll eat it and become harder to move and carry. Sounds very realistic all around. The reviews weren't bad at all, getting an average of 6.5 to 8 or so out of 10. Destructoid gave it a 9 out of 10. Nice. Of course, the controversy comes from the kind of people who completely skip out on the new year, new me kind of thing when it comes to diets and gyms. Okay, we all know I'm joking, so there you go. Fat Princess. Pretty straightforward when it comes to controversy and complaints. Okay, can I laugh now? I mean, Fat Princess? Oh my god. To be 1000% honest and me, I feel like this game is a joke, knows it's a joke, and therefore makes all the people complaining a joke. It's a fat princess. You feed the poor thing cake to make it harder to move. This is all a joke. I'm done. Okay. And that's about all for the top of the iceberg. Time to dive into the water. So, Sims 2. We all know the life simulator series dating all the way back to the very early 2000s and continuing on to present day. And to say that they are controversial wouldn't be completely out of the park. I mean, it's kind of hard to make a life-like simulator where you can basically do whatever you want, plus mods, and not get a little controversy every once in a while. But this is a little more specific and gross. The Sims 2 was developed by Maxis Redwood Shores and published by EA, released in 2004, The Sims 2. The Sims has pretty much always been a somewhat, as far as, life simulating can go, family-friendly series. But on July 22nd of 2005, Florida attorney Jack Thompson alleged that EA promoted nudity through the use of a mod or cheat code. Now, Jack Thompson has made a pretty decent name for himself by standing against obscenity in modern culture. He's known for going hardcore against video games too. Now, customizable content, like mods, being uploaded to certain sites with a price is against the EULA of the game, or Terms of Services. You know, the stuff that we all should read, but never read whenever we download anything. So basically, if I were to make a mod for The Sims 2 and upload it to a site out there and charge money for it, I'll be breaking the law. Nevertheless, Jack Thompson alleged that EA was behind some shady stuff, or wasn't doing anything against some shady stuff. There was a mod out there made by somebody that removed the blur effect when doing various activities that would, require a blur. This led to a lot of stuff being shown, pretty gross. EA executive Jeff Brown stood firmly against this claim. Quote, "This is nonsense. We've reviewed 100% of the content. There is no content inappropriate for a teen audience." Players never see a nude sim. If someone with an extreme amount of expertise and time were to remove the pixels, they would see that the Sims have no private parts. They appear like Ken and Barbie. Very interesting, and this is true. The Sims have pretty decently plain models. The claim made by Jack Thompson was only a claim and was refuted by EA, and no legal action was taken after this. It was only a claim. Ugh. Though it might come as a surprise that Mortal Kombat isn't on this list, it will be even more surprising that its brighter counterpart, Street Fighter, is. With the fame of being known around the world since '87, there's always going to be some trouble, controversy, and complaints. But the newest addition to the series, Street Fighter 6, we've gotten a very interesting situation. As time has gone by and new Street Fighters were released, they've changed a bit over time. Characters are added, new music, new maps, new locations, maybe even some new game mechanics. And of course, the skins and costumes change every time too. And that, above all the other stuff I just mentioned, is what the controversy is all about. Nevertheless, Street Fighter 6 was developed and published, of course, by Capcom in June or so, 2023. Later on in that year, in December, Capcom decided to release a new skin for each of the 18 launch characters, so none of the DLC guys got any. Sad. These were supposed to be really cool skins, but at a price, of course. And said price is exactly why we're here today. Now, if you were maybe interested, in one of the skins and wanted to get it, get ready to use some money. You would need precisely 300 fighter coins, so instead of just earning the skins through the World Tour mode, you would need to pay up. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky. There isn't a purchase in the game of 300 fighter coins specifically available, so you need to pay extra and buy 2 packs, and have some fighter coins left over when you're done. All to get one skin. This, of course, ticked a lot of people off. Now, let's go one step further and say that you actually wanted to buy all 18 of them, or more than one, right? They were just that good, I guess. You need to pay a total of 5,400 fighter coins, which is about $100, or if you reside in the motherland, then that's about 9,135 ruble. Здравствуйте, my brother and sister. None of the skins were sold in a bundle or even with a bulk discount. Buying in bulk is cheaper than singular. Yeah, the last thing you thought you were going to get when clicking on this video was an economics class, huh? Did ya? So everything you just did, we'll get ready to do it 17 more times, in fact. Now, that is if you wanted to buy all of them, but still, just getting one is a hassle. So you can already see where the mess comes from. Oh my goodness, really? In the middle of this video? Hello, who is this? What do you want? Dude, it's me, Cody Maverick. What? Cody what do you... You're a penguin. How do you even have a phone? Yo, you're all messing on my turf, bro. I can't even surf with you guys out there. You're disturbing everything, man. What are you doing? I can't finesse when you're on my water. Cody, what are you talking about? It's as hard as it is with Big Z, and I just can't do this. And you guys are out there with all this equipment and putting on this stuff. I can't get into the water at all. Oh, because we're making a video, we're taking a deep dive underneath the iceberg. Can you hold on for like 5 minutes and just let us finish this? All right, I'll call you back. Jeez. Oh, God. All right, that was interesting. Just subscribe. Sticking with the super fun political stuff, let's jump into Devotion, a 2019 first-person psychological horror game developed and published by Red Candle Games, an independent game-making studio located in Taiwan. They don't have a huge amount of games under their belt, but they only needed one to make the front page. When released, Devotion wasn't a terrible game, review-wise, getting mostly 8 and 9 out of 10. It was actually pretty decent, and one of them was 14 out of 20. Like, who does that? Oh, the French. Okay, I see. The story is interesting. The character you play as is basically in a family, and everybody in the family is slowly falling apart, and everything is becoming worse and worse and worse, and it's just growing into a nightmare. That's a very rough and rusty compilement or summary. Now, most of the reviews said that Red Candle captured the Eastern culture very well. I mean, they are in Taiwan, and that right there is something to admire alone. All around, this seemed to be a decent game. Now, the controversy and the mess that followed came crashing in not 3 days after its release. On February 21st of 2019, only 2 days after Devotion was unleashed, players noticed a Fulu, Taoist magic symbols and incantations written on a talisman by Taoist practitioners, where instead of a recipe or how to cure your kid's cold, it was written, and I quote, Xi Jinping Winnie the Pooh, or in Chinese, I'm not even gonna try that. This, of course, was referencing the meme where the General Secretary of the CCP, Xi Jinping, is compared to the, honey-loving Pooh Bear. Also, on another talisman was written, "Your mother is a moron," but when that sentence is in Mandarin, but with English characters, it spells something a lot worse. Just take my word for it. This, of course, was interpreted as an insult to the Chinese leader and sparked a massive review bomb campaign. On Steam, Devotion went from overwhelmingly positive to mostly negative in a decently short amount of time. Red Candle was very quick to change all the Fulus to Happy New Year and explained that the whole thing was just an accident because Winnie the Pooh and the mom thing were just placeholders and were supposed to be replaced. So it was all just some guy goofing off in the production phase or something like that, you know? Whatever. Though Red Candle apologized, it wasn't the end. Everything else about the game was seen as an insult to China. This resulted with Devotion being completely removed in China on February 23rd, only 4 days after it was released. My lord. Most sponsors and other companies cut ties completely with Red Candle not long after. In response, Red Candle Games removed Devotion from Steam globally 6 days after its release to fix, as they claimed, quote, technical issues, end quote, and then to make sure there weren't any other hidden messages left hanging around that they forgot. Now, this might seem as a joke over here in the West, but over there, this could have been a war. So big, in fact, that Taiwan's Vice Premier Chen Qimai spoke on the matter, regarding the controversy as a simple Easter egg and saying, quote, only in countries with democracy and freedom can creation be free from restrictions. Not long after, Chinese censors erased pretty much everything to do with the game in China. Red Candle had planned on re-releasing the game to Steam, but they claimed that feedback from the fans and audience had stopped them from going through with it, just saying that it was a waste of time and the game was done. This angered a lot of the other fans of the game out there, because if you remember, this is actually a pretty decent game, who continued to pressure Red Candles to just make the game. And on March 15th, Red Candles finally made their own digital store and sold Devotion and their other games there. What a mess. Alright, my friend, we've made it past the surface. Now let's take the dive down into the weirder, bigger, scary, and more serious topics. But on our speedy descent, I'll give you some fast ones. Duke Nukem 3D is of course on this list. Critics claim that the game promoted nudity, murder, drug use, and a whole bunch of other fun stuff. In response to this, censored versions of the game were released in other countries around the world. The guys who made the game, 3D Realms, mandated a parental lock on all the physical copies. This was an alright idea, other than the fact that you could get a code from their website that reversed the blurred version into the original. Nice. Over the years that followed, Duke Nukem 3D was banned in several countries and re-age rated in others. The game has kind of turned into a meme these days. Simulador de Escravidão, or translated from Portuguese to English, we get Slavery Simulator. Wonderful. This was a 2023 mobile game made in Brazil, not long after the game was removed from the Google Play Store. It seems rather straightforward. This is a game simulating what it's like to buy, sell, and exchange slaves. Okay, sit down with me. Who made this idea? Honestly, who does this stuff? JFK Reloaded. This is another banned game that has you playing the role of Lee Harvey Oswald, the assassinator of President John F. Kennedy. Though I don't imagine this game breaking any, player count records, it was big enough to get the attention of a spokesman for Senator Ted Kennedy. He claimed the game was, quote, despicable. Alright. Now let's get serious. We've gotten past all the other stuff, now let's put to shame all the other games we've covered. Now on stage is the big three. Oh no. Yo, you said 5 minutes, you're still here! Okay, look, it's a figure of speech. I said 5 minutes, but I actually meant like 20 more? So you have like 15 at least more minutes? Look, it's a big video, you guys have just gotta stick in there, sit on an egg, carve another board. Hello? Oh no. Is there something behind me? Yeah, okay. Just subscribe. again. Unlike most of the other games in this video, this mess just happened, and it was huge. We start in a small town named Yakutsk Saha Republic in Russia. What started as a crowd-funded brothers quickly turned into a small company under the name Fantastic, with the release of The Wild 8, a simple survival game released to Steam in February of 2017. While this wasn't the most popular game of the century, it was enough to get the name out there. Fantastic would release 3 more games by the name of Dead Dozen, Radiant One, and Prop Night, all of which weren't bad games at all. It was in January of 2021 that Fantastic teased their upcoming post-apocalyptic survival zombie game, The Day Before, and so begins the spiraling mess. Right off the bat, something was very different about this game in the making. The visual style alone was different from some of their other games, but people were excited and looking forward to it. As soon as it was available on Steam, it was instantly the top wishlisted game on the platform. During the production, the release date was pushed around twice or so before finally landing on December 7th, 2023, just a couple weeks ago. And to say that the people were excited would be an understatement. This easily could have been one of the biggest games on Steam. Roughly a week before the game launched, Fantastic started a live stream on their YouTube channel where they showed a behind the scenes of making The Day Before. That was the title, at least. They spent the majority of the stream talking about a mysterious app called Continent. I did some digging and found that this app is like a community communication system for employees under a company. This actually makes some sense as Fantastic employed people all over the world, and most likely use this app to communicate. The suspicious thing is that Continent claims it's located in Singapore, the same place where Fantastic moved to and is now working, or was working. And so December 7th rolls around the corner and the game was released on early access. Not long after this though, and far from what you'd expect, the game dropped in the top 10 most negatively reviewed games on Steam. What happened? Over the years, The Day Before was advertised as being an almost too good to be true game. It was a survival game set in a post-apocalyptic city named New Fortune City. You could buy a house, buy cars, furniture for your house. You could even go on expeditions with friends or AI to protect the city. There were characters that you could interact with and help out. Day and night cycles, weather patterns. This game was a dream come true. But when The Day Before was released, it wasn't exactly what was advertised. In fact, the zombie-filled game was empty. There wasn't a lot to do, and the quality of the game was terrible. The Day Before was ridden with bugs and glitches that terribly affected the game, like randomly falling through the map for infinity. The Day Before wasn't the game that was advertised. Now, we've all seen stuff like this happen before, so where's the thing? Here's where it gets interesting. Fantastic announced on Twitter that they would be completely shutting down the company due to financial problems not even 4 days after the release of the game. Now, everybody was in a panic to get their game refunded. Steam actually ignored the rules on their platform of refunds by allowing people with a playtime over 2 hours to get their money back. Fantastic claimed that they made no profit from The Day Before and were using all money that they received to pay off the debt. Several days later, everybody who requested a refund had gotten their money back. Fantastic took down everything on their YouTube channel and slowly disappeared. While they said that they're out of money and that every penny made off of The Day Before is going to paying off debt, we don't know the 100% truth. So is it all a lie, or is it a company going through a nightmare we all fear? Financial hell. Only time will tell. Alright, this one's crazy. We all know Bethesda Studios, and I would even go as far to say that most of the modern audience knows them too from their newest game, Starfield. But I do believe it is safe to say that Skyrim is still the most popular game to this day. The Fallout series, as good as they are, sure, but Skyrim. Now, if you're anything like me, then it's super easy to forget that Skyrim is part of a larger video game series by Bethesda, The Elder Scrolls. And would it surprise you that one of the games in The Elder Scrolls, mostly somewhat family-friendly games, had to be re-rated as mature? Well, here we go. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion was released on March 20th of 2006, the best year ever, and initially rated as teen, 13+. But on May 3rd of the same year, a dark discovery was found. If you use a third-party tool and access all the game files, you'd see, hidden deep inside the code, material, and folders, a picture of an in-game naked corpse. This was very interesting. The discovery resulted in Oblivion's re-rating from teen to mature. Now, this corpse was created by someone in Bethesda. It was part of the files and an in-game body. Very interesting. While re-rating the game, the corpse wasn't the only thing that ESRB found that they missed during their first inspection, or what was first submitted to them by Bethesda. And once again, using a third-party tool, you can play a version of the game where all the females are topless. Now, this is all stuff that ESRB didn't notice the first time around. This, of course, resulted in a rating change. Now, I'm still not 100% on why a third-party tool could affect a game's rating. It was not because of the third-party thing that Oblivion's rating was changed. It was because of this that ESRB looked into re-rating the game, and on their re-rating campaign, it raised awareness to the fact that there was some more stuff in the game than that was submitted to them originally. So, to be clear, the rating was not changed because of the third-party tool, it was changed because ESRB discovered some stuff that they didn't find the first time around. Very, very interesting. Alright, so far everything we've covered has been somewhat silly, interesting, deep, maybe even a little political, or some crazy combination of them all. Now this one, I will warn you, is kind of gross and disturbing. Let's just get into it. Including all console, all mobile, and all PC games out there, there are roughly 1,200,000 games in the world. That's a rough estimate. Now, only 26 of these games have received the highest ESRB rating possible. Adults only. That means that only 0.00217% of the games in the world have the highest age rating possible. Manhunt 2 is part of the 0.00217%. Labeled the most violent game ever created, Rockstar London's 2007 game Manhunt 2 is first on the list. Mark Washbrook founded Rockstar London from scratch on King's Road. And no, I'm not making that name up. The first thing that Washbrook and his team worked on was Manhunt 2, sequel to another game by Rockstar North. Though the first game was already a mess, scoring a solid, mature rating with good old ESRB, I guess Washbrook wanted to beat it, and he did. Manhunt 2 is set in 2007 and starts at the Dixmoor Asylum for the criminally insane, when a power outage opens the cell doors and allows all the inmates to wander freely. Daniel Lamb, who you'll be playing as, and Leo Casper meet up. Leo will be your guide throughout the game and help you escape the insane asylum, in which both of you wander back to your home and take medications left there to help you remember the past. Then you set out and continue to try remember your past with Leo as your guide. All the while, bounty hunters are coming after you. Not the worst game ever, story-wise. The execution is where a needless amount of gore and horror finds itself on the center stage. Now, here's where it all goes downhill. The parents of 14-year-old Stefan Pekira, victim to serial killer Warren LeBlanc, claimed that the murder was inspired by the original Manhunt game. Authorities were quick on the scene and made a discovery. A physical copy of Manhunt was found in one of their rooms, but it wasn't the killer's. Throughout the court case, it was denied multiple times that the game Manhunt had anything to do with the murder, but this wasn't the end. This did spark the question, what kind of influence do video games have on the youth? Tell me if you recognize the name. Jack Thompson vowed to have this game banned. He claimed that the police were wrong by saying that the game belonged to Stefan, and that Take-Two, the parent company of Rockstar Games, was lying about the incident. Quote, I have been asked by individuals in the UK to stop the distribution of Take-Two/Rockstar's hyper-violent video game Manhunt 2 in that country due out this summer. The original Manhunt was responsible for a bludgeoning death of a British youth by his friend who obsessively played the game. The killer used a hammer just as in the game he played. Take-Two/Rockstar, anticipating the firestorm of criticism with the release of the Murder Simulator sequel, is lying to the public on both sides of the pond and stating this week that the game had nothing to do with the murder. End quote. While there are similarities, I personally cannot confirm the claim. Now, Jack Thompson tried to ban GTA 4 and Manhunt as public nuisances. Take-Two petitioned the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida to stop this lawsuit, claiming that video games bought for private entertainment couldn't be considered public nuisances. The very next day, Jack Thompson wrote on his own site, quote, I have been praying, literally, that Take-Two and its lawyers would do something so stupid that such a misstep would enable me to destroy Take-Two. The pit Take-Two has dug for itself will be patently clear next week when I strike back. End quote. Sure enough, next week, Jack Thompson filed a countersuit and claimed that Take-Two had violated RICO multiple times, and accused pretty much every single game journalist, website, and company out there with conspiring with Take-Two in racketeering activities. Basically, shady business deals. These claims were weakened by several factual inaccuracies and errors within it. Now, this part is interesting. The case never made it to an actual lawsuit. Thompson agreed not to sue or even threatened to sue Take-Two or any Take-Two game, or to block or fight against the sales of their games, and in return, Take-Two stopped the previous lawsuit that they had been working on, which was aimed against Thompson over stuff that he claimed about 2006 Rockstar game Bully. Seriously, I need to make a video just called The Legendary 1000-Year Jack vs. Rock War. I don't know whether I should love this guy or I'm scared of him. Now, I won't get too deep into this because it's a little bit off topic, but still, Jack Thompson, guardian of all humanity, wrote a letter to the CEO of Wendy's, yes, the fast food place, saying that they shouldn't sell/advertise several games coming to the Wii, a video game system mainly used by younger audiences, because a certain Manhunt 2 was being released on the Wii. Wow. Later on down the line, Florida Attorney General Bill McCollum, who Jack Thompson wrote to on the matter, said that the interactive remote that the Wii used did concern him because instead of pressing buttons, you had to swipe to cut somebody down or slash to slit a throat. And no joke, Jack Thompson called this a, and I quote, training device. Dear Lord. And that just about wraps up the very controversial Manhunt 2 mess. While doing some research for this video, I was genuinely shocked at just how many downright twisted games there are out there. And there are so many more that I didn't see. Like, who creates these things and why? That right there is going to be the topic of my next video. If I can get to it, these videos are actually taking, like, I don't know, years of my life to... Continuing my investigation, but taking a deep dive into the mind behind these nightmares. I hope you're ready. It'll be out soon, I hope, if this video gets, like, more than, like, 3 views. Well, what do you think? What are your thoughts on these games? Personally, I had a blast making this video. Me currently writing the script is crying because I have to edit this thing still. And, oh, would you look at that? Huh. Sorry, bro. But hey, I love you guys. I hope you have a, when I say great, I mean great rest of the day. And remember, life is short. Play great games. Yeah, I'm busy too. I'm busy too, yeah. Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Bethesda has had a long run of